Former JSO officer found himself on the other side of the law this morning, making his first appearance before a judge. Matthew Butler was arrested and charged with capital sexual battery of a child yesterday and made his first court appearance this morning. The details of the investigation are pretty slim at this point, but we're told this all involves some sort of picture involving a nude child on an electronic device belonging to Butler. Our Lewis Turner, he was in the court this morning. He has more on what happened. Hey, Lou.
Katie, court is in that building, JSO, where the detention facility is, and that's where Butler is right now. And it was very quick, as these things always are. He gets called up, goes before the judge, is reminded of his charges, reminded of his bond, which is just over $1 million, and then told of his next court date, which is going to be right around April 17. The whole thing, if you did the stopwatch on it, lasted about 20 seconds before he was sent back into jail. And can now bond out. That is, if he can come up with the funds to do so. However, other than the heinous charges that you just mentioned there, Katie, allegedly involving a child 12 or younger, another odd situation with this officer is why JSO released his mugshot. I mean, we've been showing it to you. It's odd and very unusual for a cop to ever get his mugshot, whether it's JSO or any police force in Florida or across the country and many other places, no matter the circumstances, whether they're retired, they're fired, or they're resigned in this situation, no matter what. There are statutes in place that allow the officer to decline having his mugshot released. It's for the protection of the officer, the protection of the officer's family. However, we called JSO to ask, why did we get this mugshot in particular? Not complaining, just why did we get this one? Well, it was because Butler never signed the paperwork asking to have his picture withheld. That is the officer's right, to have the mugshot withheld, and he never did that. We have no idea why. But just as a for instance, and something we'll keep looking into, another JSO officer was arrested earlier this week for a dispute that happened outside a Jacksonville nightclub. We do not have his mugshot, and we likely never will. We'll continue to follow this. From downtown outside JSO, I'm Lewis Turner, First Coast News on your side.